It was May 11, 1935, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Executive Order 7037 establishing REA, the Rural Electric Administration. Presque Isle Electric Cooperative was incorporated March 22, 1937, thanks to our founding fathers, a determined group of men who worked tirelessly to bring electricity to the rural citizens of northern Michigan under the newly formed REA program. Standing in the back left to right, Leonard Polk, Charles Sorgenfrey, Herbert Paul, Jack Brown, County Extension Agent. Seated left to right in the front, Otto Grambo, President, Frank Smith, Vice President, Edgar Rambat, Treasurer, and Lilmer M. Olson, Secretary. Posen was the location where our first pole was set. It was celebrated with a ceremony on September 22, 1937. It was the first REA-financed power line pole in Michigan. The site is marked today with a state historical plaque. At the formal dedication ceremony, U.S. Representative John Luck spoke along with Joseph Donnelly of the Michigan Public Service Commission and Philip K. Fletcher from Alpena Power Company, whose Norway Dam provided our first power supply. Laird Construction was contracted to build the first 70 miles of distribution line. The original line extended from the Norway Dam on the Thunder Bay River in Alpena to Mulkey. Towns along the line included Cathro, Bolton, Posen, Metz, Hawks, Petersville, and Hagensville. By Christmas time 1937, farm families no longer had to live life isolated in darkness and drudgery. The light had arrived to 82 farm families. Electricity was a reality. This is the first office building of Presque Isle Electric Cooperative in Posen. Early employees: from left, Clyde Bruning, William G. Reuter, Agnes Betcher, Alice Wozniak, and Alice Konechny in the late 1930s. In 1941, Presque Isle Electric Cooperative acquired the Tower Hydro when it purchased the Onaway Light and Power Company. More than half of the power in the early 1940s came from the Tower Hydro plant. For added power supply, Presque Isle Electric Cooperative then constructed a new hydro power facility 3 miles downriver from the original one, naming it the Kleber Dam for retiring manager Gus Kleber. Demands for electric service continued from Sheboygan and Montmorency counties, so lines were built as rapidly as labor and material shortages would permit. But with new customers, we also needed to secure power supply, so other generation plants were acquired, such as this generating plant in Atlanta. An electric bill in the early years ran $3 for 40 kilowatts or less. This customer's bill was $2. Once power was available, members had to be convinced that they could afford to use the new electricity on the farm and in the home. To promote energy and increase revenue, demonstrations were often given to show members how to use electric milking equipment, and new electric stoves like this demonstration in Rogers City. The cooperative would often have promotions for electric appliances. The first office in Onaway was located at what is now the Shagnon Funeral Home. This was the former office of Onaway Light and Power, which became Presque Isle Electric Cooperative's new headquarters in 1942. Pictured here are some of our prior employees in approximately 1949 to 1950. Gus Kleber, Vivian Burkhart, Ardith Rotarius, Arlene Smith, and Isla Merritt. Clayton Smith, Lloyd Graves, and Michael O'Mara. Another picture shows in the back Dietmar Kleber, William J. Reuter, John Stoner, Harry Pauley, Harold Craddock, and Stan Buda. In the front left to right, Gus Kleber, William G. Reuter, Nelson Free, Alfred Detloff, and a visitor. With expansion to so many areas, material was needed and needed in mass quantities. Poles were one such item. The utility poles arrived at our pole yard located in Tower, Michigan by rail car. They were held down by metal bands and wooden posts. When unloading, employees would have to place our own cables so we could safely remove the poles once the metal bands and posts were removed. Poles were then rolled off one side of the car and stacked by hand for future use. As with most poles, the tops are smaller than the base, so poles were stacked for stability and ease of loading them when needed. So much of this work was manual labor. The employees would spend a better part of the day unloading poles. Setting poles was also a labor-intensive process. Here, a crew made up of Robert Lonsdale, Paul Latch, Harold Taylor, and Irvin Weil are seen setting a pole for the new Hillman substation. Tree clearing and cleaning up brush after trimming our rights-of-way was a labor-intensive project in the beginning. In 1956, the addition of a new chipper allowed for brush and trimmings to be chipped and easily disposed of. The old practice of having to wait until it was safe to burn tree trimmings and brush, and of leaving an unsightly spot where the burning had been done, was no longer in use at Presque Electric Cooperative. Our crews could often be seen throughout area communities building lines. In 1953, Presque Isle Electric Cooperative began construction of a new office and headquarters on property east of Onaway on M68. The official open house was postponed until July 28, 1955, due to construction on M68, but Presque Electric Cooperative actually began using the building in February 1955. The new office was built to give adequate space to conduct 12,000 members' business, as quoted from More Power to You in March of 1955. Today, we service more than 41,000 accounts from the same building. In the early 1960s, power was extended to Bois Blanc Island. This was a line extension unlike we had ever done before. President Bernard Klein in 1964 report stated, "The largest single construction project was the launching of the program to provide Central Station electric service to Bois Blanc Island. It was finally underway and was to be completed in 1964. By 1967, Presque Isle Electric Cooperative had 14,900 members, 2,800 miles of line, 45 employees, and annual sales of $1,584,610. The manager at the time was William Reuter.